To anyone that's been experiencing anxiety in any kind of interpersonal relationships, just ask yourself how many healthy examples you have in your life about what it means to be a, let's say, content communicator. What it means to be a healthy person when it comes to conversations. What it means to have a balanced beingness, mentality, emotionality, whatever. What it means to really be what you would look as an ideal communicator. Because clearly if you are not a certain type of an ideal of what you think that you should be, you feel anxious. You feel anxious because you have no skill of what would it mean to communicate clearly, without a fear, without a limiting belief, without, maybe not knowing what to say and being ashamed or being held back because maybe you have many dark thoughts about that other person. The thing that we suffer, we find ourselves being anxious in this kind of relationships is because we don't have a skill of it. Like we can become very skillful about being well with ourselves, like mastering ourselves. But we recognize as soon as we get into the world and we get in contact with others, it's a whole new dimension, right? Suddenly this self-mastery doesn't have much to do with a complete simple conversation. You see, we are trying to make ourselves perfect just because we don't know what it means to actually free ourselves. And there's an idea that is so interesting that, God is not a state of perfection. It's a state of becoming. It's consistent becoming. It's consistent becoming. When you look at the nature, it's a consistent becoming of something new, something different. And many times when we feel anxious about something, we think, oh, I'm not perfect. I'm not trained enough. So I need to make myself perfect so then I can handle myself there. But it's actually like going there and just becoming and learning from experiences. That's what nature does. It's just becoming. So the point is that when something makes you anxious, you need these experiences. Go there more frequently. Just go into more kind of experiences that make you feel anxious, that make you feel stressed, that make you feel like you are not good enough. Have more of this kind of experiences because suddenly you can put everything you've learned into a test. You will notice that most of what you know is completely useless. And then you can let go of it. You will notice most maybe books that you've read, completely useless. Because as long as you're talking about confidence, it means you're not confident. As long as you're talking about trust, it means you're not trusting. As long as you're talking about self-worth, it means you're not worthy. Because something that you take for granted is something that's so deeply rooted already that you don't even need to talk about it. You don't even need to think about it, like breathing or heart beating or the need to eat and things like that. Those are completely natural things. But when it comes to worthiness, you think you need to change something in yourself to feel worthy. Well, actually, you just need experiences that will show you that what works the best for you is for you to be you. And you can train yourself to be yourself, but rather to be exposed so you can slowly let go of anything that is not you. You may be behaving a certain way and eventually you recognize it's unsustainable for me to be this way. So eventually these parts of you will just fall off. You will move on with your life, but these certain parts of your identity will fall off. You will recognize it takes way too much energy to carry this kind of identity, to carry this kind of behaviors, to constantly keep making sure that you're being this way, that you're, doing everything right. So to those of you who are already in healthy relationships, you know that eventually you just become truthful with that other person. If you are not truthful with that other person, then you're in a huge problem, because again you're trying to cultivate something that's not you, and you found it very hurtful. So to anyone who is finding yourself feeling anxious in any kind of interpersonal relationships, know that it's actually how we learn to build relationships. It's how we learn to function. And because we don't have any healthy example, like when I reflect on my life, if I go from my family as I was growing up, most people that I've admired when I was little, later I've noticed, well, they have so many flaws and errors. And when I've noticed that, I've started admiring some other people. And later I've noticed they have many flaws and errors as well. And I've started admiring some other people. Like I would go on hierarchy of more maybe people who stand out as more intelligent or wiser or more mature. But every time you come to a certain point where you see more than before, you recognize they all have flaws and errors. So is it a bad thing? Well, it's upon you to decide, right? The point is that you recognize that no one truly is perfect. Why are you expecting yourself to be perfect? Because you think then you will not be anxious. Anxiety is not a bad thing. It's just a sign that there's something untrained. There's something that, there are parts of you that don't allow you to be natural. And you just don't learn to be natural in one try. So some of you know I'm coming from a freestyle mountain biking. And in that sport, it's so similar to martial arts because you're learning to develop your own style, similar to painting as well. You learn to develop your own style, but you don't learn to develop a style just by thinking about it. You're practicing it. So I've been riding, and sometimes I've seen other riders who've been so natural, and they've been riding with such a beautiful style, and I was like, oh, I want to ride like them. But more I've been training, more I've been noticing I will never ride like them. I want to do things differently. I want to try this and that, and it helped me to develop my own style. I've done tricks differently. And in painting it's the same. Just that when I've started painting, I was never looking at other artists. I still don't know much artists. I'm just painting because I want to paint. And that's how you develop a style. When it comes to relationships, you see, being a human is also like finding a certain style, right? Not like copying something or like trying to be like someone. But it's a self-expression. It's already a style. It's not to express the way that you will impress someone or that you will be like that celebrity or something. But it's a playful act of creation where you find a style to express yourself. And then through the process of maturity and awakening, you find new ways of self-expression. The point is that you follow the playfulness, you follow the natural sensation that moves through you. And in certain relationships, it just doesn't feel that it's possible. And it's okay as well. You will not be completely authentic with everyone. And I think you don't need to be. The point is that you don't lose a sense of who you are, and you recognize that not with all people you will have same relationships, not with everyone you will develop the same bond. Some people are just there to, to awaken something in you, to trigger something in you. So you can recognize, oh, I still believe this, I still hold on to this. And there are other people who will actually really trigger you the way that you will be so truthful and honest and authentic with them that you will kind of surprise yourself that you can be like that. And anxiety then is just this sense you're not there yet. So don't avoid what makes you feel anxious. More frequently expose yourself to it. That's healing. Healing doesn't happen behind the walls when you're doing all kinds of different practices. Yeah, these practices can introduce you to wounds that you have, but the world will heal you. Going out and exposing yourself and rewriting the pattern. Like really training the impulse or awareness of the impulse when a triggering sensation happens, rather than just reacting to it. You actually breathe in and you respond. There's a difference between reacting and responding. When you respond, it means that you took time. You took time and it didn't happen automatically, it happened consciously. This is the difference. And only when you become a bit more conscious, not so reactive anymore, then you will slowly discover a higher awareness of this process, which is being natural. From being aware of how you respond to respond more naturally, where you notice that in a certain specific moment, there's something that feels natural. And that's where you will learn the law of adaptability. You're the most adaptable creature. You can adapt to anything. And once you recognize that in any particular moment, when you develop this sense of awareness that there is a natural stream to that moment, to that conversation, to that thing, and if you can sense it, maybe you're just in a relationship where you say, oh, thank you, goodbye. I don't know, not all relationships supposed to be deep and, not superficial. Some are completely superficial, and it's okay. Just make sure that those are not your main relationships, that superficial people are not the main people in your life. You need the ones that are, that understand you. You need the ones that see you for who you are. Those are the people you need around. The ones that are inspiring, the ones that will inspire you, the ones that will teach you something, the ones that will uplift you, the ones that will support you, the ones that will say to you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Those are people you need around. And you will only meet them when you will move through anxiety. That's when you will meet the most incredible people. So just remind yourself, when you feel like you are not a perfect communicator or you're not a perfect individual in interpersonal relationships, just remind yourself you had no great examples. We learn by an example. We have mirror neurons that copy the environment. If we haven't seen great communicators, it's completely natural then that we don't know how to communicate, how to be honest. But once you find someone who you would admire as a good communicator, you will notice you can just observe that person and you will easily embody some of these qualities. That's why you should start looking up for, searching for people who have healthy relationships and learn from them. Yeah, because we exist on this planet together and we can all learn from one another. So my friends, I hope you found great value today. I'm sending you lots of love, blessings, and power. Thanks to everyone for choosing to support my art. I'm an artist. You can find my art on our store, AttractPassion.com, or Etsy store, AttractPassion. Right now we are running a special November sale, 20 off on all of the prints of my art, and 15 off, first time ever, 15 off on all of my original paintings. Go and check it out. The sale is only on our store, AttractPassion.com. Check it out, and also thanks to everyone for joining our Patreon community for more exclusive content. Thank you so much, and till next time, one love.